Hi Elms, we're on to our last chapter, chapter 6 of Tom's Sausage Lion. When we left the children, they were heading off to school, Claire and Tom and the lion in the middle. So let's see what sort of a reaction they get. Chapter 6. It was 5 to 9 and the playground was full of children when they walked in through the gates with the lion between them. It was rather like dropping a pebble in a pond. As they saw the lion, the children moved slowly backwards to the railings around the playground. One or two ran screaming into the school, but most were quite silent. Tom and Claire stood beside the lion in the middle of the empty playground. A few children whimpered and clung to each other, but most just stared at the lion, paralysed with terror. Tom looked around the playground until he found who he was looking for. Barry Parsons was standing up against the wall under the conker tree that leant out over the playground. Tom, Claire and the lion walked slowly towards him. "He looks terrified," said Claire. "Yes, he does," said Tom, "doesn't he?" "Don't come any closer," Barry shouted at them. "Keep away. He'll kill me." "What will?" said Tom. "That thing, that lion thing. Keep it away." Barry was swallowing hard. His face had gone quite pale. "But I thought you said I was making it all up," Tom said. The lion sniffed at Barry's jeans and began to lick them. Barry closed his eyes. "Looks as if he likes the taste of you, Barry," said Tom, "and he hasn't had his breakfast yet." Barry tried to edge away along the wall. "Oh, don't try and run away, Barry, else he'll eat you. Just keep quite still." The lion looked up at Barry and licked his whiskers. Claire tugged at Tom's elbow and he turned around. Every teacher in the school was gathered in a huddle by the school door, each half hidden by the other. "Bye, Barry," said Tom. "Believe me now, do you?" Barry nodded. "Good," said Tom. "Come on, Leo. I want you to meet my teacher, Mr. Morgan." He didn't believe me either. None of them did. And they walked across the playground towards the teachers. "Morning, Miss Colvin," Tom said, trying not to smile. "Bought something to show Mr. Morgan." The teachers gaped. All he could see of Mr. Morgan was a white face peering around someone's shoulder. "Oh, he won't hurt you. Don't worry, he's quite safe. But he is a lion, isn't he, miss? Like I said he was." Miss Colvin nodded. "This is the lion I told you I saw, miss. Mr. Morgan said I was lying, and I wasn't. You said I was lying, and I wasn't. So I just brought him to school. So as you'd all know, I wasn't lying." "Claire saw it too, miss. She's not stupid, and she's not a liar either. She can't see very well without her glasses, but she knows a lion when she sees one, and so do I." "Now, Tom," said Miss Colvin, unable to take her eyes off the lion, "I've called the police. They'll be round any minute. I want you to keep calm, Tom. Don't get frightened. Everything will be all right." "I'm not frightened, miss," said Tom, "and there's no need for them to come. We're going to go round to the police station now. See, miss, I told them about the lion, just like I told you, and they didn't believe me either." "I think they'll believe us now," said Claire. The main street was empty of people and cars as Tom and Claire and the lion walked out of the school gates and down towards the police station. Every door was closed and every window was full of frightened faces. "Just like high noon," said Claire. "What's that?" asked Tom. "It's a cowboy film," said Claire. "I like black and white cowboy films. There's this sheriff and the gangsters are coming for him and no one will help him. They all hide in their houses and he's walking down this empty street and then the gangsters come off the train and—" "Well, who wins?" Tom asked. "The goody, of course. They always do in cowboy films." As she spoke, 3 policemen came running down the steps of the police station. One of them was carrying a rifle. They stopped in their tracks as they saw the lion and the 2 children walking down the road towards them. "Don't shoot!" Tom called out as one of them dropped to his knee and lifted a rifle slowly to his shoulder. "Don't shoot! He's just a pet. Won't harm anyone if you leave him alone." The three policemen stared at them. Claire recognised the one with the stripes as the sergeant who had come to give them cycling training at school on Saturday mornings. And both of them knew the one with the rifle. He was the one they had told about the lion, the one who had laughed at them and told them to go away. "Now, don't be frightened, children," said the sergeant. "It'll all be all right if you just keep calm. I want you to do exactly what I say." He muttered something to the one with the rifle. "I want you to move away from the lion and walk over to me slowly." "They want to shoot him," Claire whispered. "They want us out of the way so they can shoot him." Tom crouched down by the lion and put an arm around his neck. "There's no need to shoot him," Tom said. "He's as quiet as a mouse. He's just a pet. He wouldn't hurt a fly, would you, Leo?" "You're Tom," said the sergeant. "You're Tom Goss, aren't you?" "How do you know that?" Tom asked. "Your dad just phoned up," said the sergeant. "Worried sick, he was. Said you'd gone missing. He said you might be in danger. Told us there was a lion about. To be honest with you, I didn't believe him, not at first. And then Miss Colvin rings up from the school and says there's a lion in her playground. So I had to believe it then." "He didn't believe us either," said Claire, pointing to the policeman with the rifle. "We told him a week ago we'd seen a lion, and he just told us to go away." "Did he now?" said the sergeant. "You can put that rifle down, Perkins," he snapped. "No need for that now." The rifle was lowered. "You said he was a pet," the sergeant went on. "Whose pet?" "I've rung the people he belongs to," said Claire. "Their number's on the lion's collar. They're coming to pick him up, they said, and they're on their way now." "In that case," said the sergeant, "why don't we all go inside the police station? Perkins here can fetch a bowl of milk for your friend, and we can all have a nice cup of tea. And I can ring your father and let him know you're all alive and well. How's that?" And so it was that when Tom's mother and father arrived, they found Tom and Claire sitting cross-legged on the floor of the police station, and the lion standing with his front feet in a great bowl of milk and lapping noisily. The lion barely looked up as they came in through the door. Tom smiled up at them. "See?" was all he said. "We found Sam in the cottage, Tom. Got him in the Land Rover," said his father. "My mistake, Tom. All my mistake." "I just didn't want you to shoot him, Dad, that's all," Tom said, "because I knew he didn't do it. He didn't kill your sheep, Dad. In fact, he chased Leo away. That's how he got that gash on his leg. You were lucky, though. Claire says that cougars can kill 50 sheep in a night if they want to." "Cougar? Cougar?" said the sergeant from behind his desk. "Perkins, didn't we have a report to keep an eye out for a missing cougar? About 9 months ago it must have been." "Yeah, I know we did. But that's not a cougar. That's a mountain lion. I thought a cougar was some kind of an eagle." Claire looked up at the police sergeant. "Oh, that's a condor. Comes from the Andes Mountains in South America," she said. "A cougar is a puma, and a puma is a mountain lion. They're all the same. Cougar's a kind of lion, condor's an eagle." "Oh," said the sergeant sheepishly. Another bowl of milk later, a Land Rover pulled up outside the police station. Tom led the lion down the steps and out into the street. The whole town had gathered to watch. There was a line of policemen holding back the crowds. The newspapers were there, and the television cameras. There was a man in a flat hat standing by the back door of the Land Rover. "It was you who found him, was it?" he said, crouching down and running his hand along the lion's back. "I found him on our farm," said Tom. "He's yours, is he?" "Well, my son's really. It's about your age he is. He brought him up since he was a kitten," said the man. "Then one day he just took off after a rabbit and didn't come back. We searched and searched for him, but he never came back." "He likes rabbits," said Tom, taking off the lead. "Bye, Leo," he said. The lion sprang lightly up into the Land Rover, and then the door shut. "Thanks a million," said the man, taking off his cap and shaking Tom by the hand, and then Claire. "How can I ever thank you for what you've done?" "I think my dad would like his lambs back," said Tom. "Leo got hungry one day and killed 3 of my dad's lambs." "Oh, least I can do," said the man, laughing. "It's a deal." And he climbed up into his Land Rover and started the engine. Leo was sitting in the front seat beside him and looking out of the window. He was yawning. As they drove away down the street, everyone began clapping and cheering. Deep in the crowd, just outside the post office, Uncle Bertie and Auntie Rose stood on tiptoe to try to get a better view. "That's little Tom. That's my nephew," said Auntie Rose, tears of pride in her eyes. "My own nephew. I knew he was telling the truth about that lion. I knew it all the time. I mean, you couldn't make up a story like that, could you?" "No, dear," said Uncle Bertie, "and he's my nephew too, remember." "Oh, I could eat him. I could eat that boy. I'm so proud of him," she said. "Lucky for him the lion didn't feel the same," said Uncle Bertie, and he laughed and laughed. "Well, that's not funny," said Auntie Rose. "Yes, it is," said Uncle Bertie, and he laughed till he cried. Back on the steps of the police station, Tom and Claire stood side by side. "I feel like the Queen," said Claire. "Let's wave back like she does." And so they did. The end. Oh, we got there. Oh, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that book. Michael Morpurgo is a brilliant author, and I'm sure that we'll come across him again. We'll have some other stories to get us through next week, but for now, from Tom Sausage Lion, cheerio!